Mill Serp Garage. All right, today we're going to take a look at the Sig Sauer P220 and a little bit of detail here on the Sig Sauer 22 long rifle conversion kit for the 220. So if you guys remember back in my videos there, you will find, where is it, the P220 Legion that I did a video on. Love that gun. And I came across, I was at a shooting event, and I came across an ad on a bulletin board for what turned out to be a competitive shooter that was getting rid of his P220 setup that he was using for his competitive shooting. He was switching to like a different, like a whole different rig, a whole different gun or something like that. So he had a whole setup for the 220, and he was going to switch over to something else and was selling it all kind of like as a package. And I spoke with this guy, and apparently, he couldn't get rid of it. He just kept dropping the price, kept lowering the price, and just could not sell this stuff. So I met up with him. I took a look at what he had, and it was an amazing deal, and I couldn't say no. So what it included was the 45 caliber P220. It's in decent shape. I mean, definitely fired, used, but has these nice Hogue grips on it, and an absolutely identical setup P220 with the 22 long rifle conversion kit on it, which it's not really necessary to have two receivers to do this, because this kit will fit right onto any 220 receiver. But this guy just had it set up like this so he could use, he obviously shot the competitive shooting with the 45 cal and used the 22 conversion kit as a cheaper alternative to practicing, and he wanted it set up, look at them, they're set up just identical. The only difference really, just physically looking at it, obviously there's some differences dimensionally to the slide, but the 22 caliber has just white dot sights, whereas the 45 has the night sights. But other than that, they're set up identical. Since it's the same lower, you still have the same, the 22 has the same, double action, single action operation, same decocking lever. Same. The only difference is there's no last round hold open on the 22 conversion, whereas the 45 on the last round will have a last round hold open. What else did it come with? It came with, so the magazines obviously are going to be different. It came with, you can see he was a competitive shooter. He had them numbered. These are the 22 long rifle magazines. We'll take a look at those. And it came with all of these 45 caliber magazines. These can't be cheap. These are, this is original Sig stuff. This is not junk. The original grips. These are the Hogue grips that are on there. The packaging is from the original, from the Hogue grips. These are the originals. So it's kind of nice that he had those in case I wanted to switch back. This nice, what is this, a Blade Tech holster here that I guess he used for competition. And again, since it's, it'll take either one, since they're dimensionally identical. So it's a pretty cool holster. Plus these two mag pouch deals here for belt to put on the belt. Listen, you can't go wrong with all this stuff. This guy just had this stuff all in a bag and just dumped it all out. How could you say no? The 45 cal mags are these nice, robust feeling steel mags, and 22 caliber mags let's get the 45 cal out of the picture here for a little while, so we can just concentrate on the 22 cal. These mags are interesting. They're made to fit the regular, once again, it's just the regular 45 caliber receiver. So they're meant to fit, and it's interesting how they do it with a simple follower like this. It isn't any kind of weird oddball type 22 caliber magazine. They fit in here and load very similar to the stock mags. What's interesting about these mags, and these aren't cheap. I looked on to see about how much they are, and they're not cheap. These things, they feel almost like ceramic. It's a really weird kind of plastic where they feel almost like a ceramic material. Very strange, but very, very high quality, very high quality. So how is it that they get this 22 caliber to function on the 45 caliber frame? Like, how is it that they get this done? Well, let's dig into this a little bit. I'll show you. So the Sig has this locking, the barrel drops down. You've seen this before. This is the same as Glock. The barrel drops down. When you fire it, it comes back all locked together like this. The barrel will lock, and it'll be easier with the hammer back. See how the barrel drops down? See that, right? That drop right there. Drops down, cycles out the round, brings up another round out of the magazine, and then brings it back into battery. And this right here, the locking, the top of the barrel actually locks into the receiver. It's not like the 1911 or the Browning High Power, which has those locking lugs in the barrel. This is the locking lug right here, like into the rear of the receiver. It locks into that mortise in the rear of the receiver there. And inside, right down here, let me get the mag out of the way. You can see the extractor right here. Oh, sorry, that's the ejector. That's the ejector right there. And the extractor, of course, would be here. This would be your extractor hooked onto the round, and here is your ejector. When the slide goes far enough back, just imagine a round in there. When it goes far enough back, there it is, exposing the ejector right there. And that's what's going to kick out. That's what's going to kick out the brass right there. And come forward, bring up another round. There's your feed ramp right there. And feeds the round right into the chamber. Could have done that with snap caps. Why not? What am I doing? Why am I not showing you with some snap caps? Here's a couple. I'll just bring out a couple. So here's some 45 cal realistic snap caps. So we'll load up a couple. And once again, up the feed ramp into the chamber. Upon firing, there's the extractor. There's the ejector. I gotta hit that a little harder. Picks up the next round, up the feed ramp and in. Let's do this a little harder this time. And there's our ejector, kicking the round out. So we want to convert that to 22 cal. So what do? All right, well, I guess we'll get out some 22 cal snap caps here. And let's take a look. So right away we'll notice barrel, it's not dropping. It's not dropping down. This is just straight blowback. So this barrel, it's just locked in place. It does not move. Barrel just remains completely static during the entire cycling procedure. It doesn't even move. It doesn't move at all. It just stays in one spot for all eternity. And just simple blowback operation is what makes this work, which is why, I'll show you right now, if you really want to have this thing performing correctly, here's what you go with. CCI Mini Mag. I'm telling you right now, do not go with anything else. It'll balk at stuff like stingers and velocitors and all that kind of stuff, and it's standard CCI, standard velocity. It runs okay with it, but every once in a while you're going to see that it just doesn't have enough oomph to cycle it all the way. So after you fire, you'll pull the trigger, might even push the hammer all the way back. It might even have enough to go there, but it doesn't pick up the next round. And then when you fire, it's just, you're just going to get like a click, and you're going to look, and the empty brass is going to be in there, and you're going to eject it to load the next round. So it happens every once in a while. Standard velocity CCI just about cuts it. I'd say 1 out of every 30, 40 rounds is going to do that. But mini mags, it will run perfectly. As a matter of fact, this guy included a brick of CCI mini mag for me when he gave it to me. Even a brick of mini mag came along with it. So here we go. So how does this work? So the ejector, what do we do with the ejector if it uses the standard 45 ejector, right? Because the ejector is it's actually on the receiver. It's not on the slide, right? We'll dig this. There's I'm sorry, I keep saying ejector, I meant extractor. I meant ejector. The extractor is on the face of the face of the receiver right here. Same thing. It's in the same spot. Looks the same. But the ejector, it's over here. It's different. It's a different ejector that looks like it's connected to the barrel, because you change out the slide, the barrel, and the mag. That's what you change out to make this thing, to convert it to 22. So it's not on the slide, it's on the barrel. And the barrel, again, it doesn't move, so that just sits in one spot. But if you look, the 45, the original ejector is still in place back there. And if you look at it, it doesn't even have a mark on it. I think when this guy bought this kit, he bought it as a whole gun. And I don't think this has ever been used as a 45. Although you could swap slides. I could swap the slide from the Legion onto here. I could put this 22 caliber kit on the Legion, switch whatever with this one, whatever I want to switch back and forth. They're all compatible with each other. But let's just take a look inside before we do anything else to show you exactly how cool this thing is. So this is the kit. Let's also pull off the regular slide here. Let's get the mag out. Don't want to confuse these. So yeah, as you can see, let's zoom in a little bit. So the 45 receiver has this real tight spring, this steel guide rod, and your tilting and dropping barrel. You could even see when you slides here and it clicks down into place. See that? Like it'll drop down, slide across the top of the slide, and then when it comes back into battery, clicks up into place. See that? And that's how it works. The 22 version. It's amazing how similar it is even, right? Still has a guide rod and a spring, although the spring is going to be considerably thinner. Guide rod is going to be plastic. It needs to be light. This weighs nothing. I wouldn't want to replace it with a steel one because I'm pretty sure that the reciprocating mass needs to be exactly in a certain spot. Now with this guy, you're not going to have any dropping. It's not going to drop down. It's just going to go forward and back. And here's where it clips into the, clips the round over the extractor. Here's where the ejector runs along the inside of the slide. And that's it. It's just a simple forward and back movement. There's the breech face with the 22 firing pin. Although the hammer hits in the same exact spot, you can see that the firing pin is located, you know, in that rim fire spot where it would be at the top. It's at the top of the see where it comes out. Can I do it with my finger? Probably. Let me get a towel. I like to show things like that. I know you guys know what it looks like when a firing pin comes out, but could I do that? Is it possible? No. It might be like a safety there. I think there's a safety there. You know, there was an issue with the 220. It's kind of like a sore spot for 220 Afknados. Let me see. I got some info here. The 220 was designed in 1975. Here, let's throw some info down over here. Designed in 1975 by the Sig Arms AG Division. Schweizerische Industrie Gesellschaft. I'm trying my best. That's what SIG stands for. And produced by J.P. Sauer and Sohn in Eckernfurt. Currently manufactured by both Sig Sauer companies, Sig Sauer GmbH of Eckernfurt, Germany, and Sig Sauer Incorporated of New Hampshire, United States. Woohoo! New Hampshire. Gotta love New Hampshire. Yeah, designed by Walter Ludwig, Hans-Peter Sig, and Eduard Brodbeck. Thank you, gentlemen. And yeah, there's a lot of really cool info with this. It replaced the 210 series, but that was the Petter Browning system from SCAM of France. This I've looked at that before. I don't have a P210, but it is. I know it's an interesting gun, and it's a Swiss Army gun. In 1975, this was a replacement for the P210, which was developed during World War II. And in 1975, Switzerland became the first nation to officially adopt the P220 as the Pistole 75, P75, chambered in 9mm. It's not 9mm anymore. These were all discontinued. The only thing you can get it in now is 10mm, 45, and 22 long rifle with the conversion kit. Upon completion of their military service, all Swiss soldiers can obtain ownership of their ordnance weapon for a nominal fee. In particular, commissioned officers and soldiers of the medical forces of the Swiss Armed Forces can obtain ownership of their P220 service pistols by paying an administrative fee of 30 Swiss francs. In the United States, this handgun was originally sold in a modified form as the Browning BDA from 77 to 80. That is an interesting piece of info right there. This is interesting. I can't even get into this without the stuff to show you, but there's an interesting connection here with the 210. The 210 was a licensed copy of the French model 1935, which is the Petter Browning design. Petter had removed the loose-fitting barrel bushing and the tilting link of the John Browning M1907 design, but retained the grooves on the top of the barrel, which engaged similar grooves in the interior of the slide. Sig's licensed this design in 1947. The Sig Sauer design went further by having no grooves in the slide of the barrel. Instead, an enlargement of the chamber locks directly on the ejection port of the slide. Exactly. That's what we were looking at right here. That's it. That was the huge advancement for the 220. The double action, single action trigger design of the P220 is also a Sig Sauer innovation, similar to the J.P. Sauer & Son 38H pistol. Further design refinements include a hammer, decocking lever, and positive firing pin block safety, which is probably why I couldn't just push the firing pin out, even on the 22 version. Yeah, interesting. Now here's the issue. Sig Sauer refers to their safety systems as a 4-point system. 4 types of safety are. They were very into this, that it was like a safety-orientated gun. The decocker, which allows the shooter to lower the hammer safely when there's a round in the chamber. When the decocking occurs, the hammer is lowered but still stays away from the firing pin. The safety notch prevents the hammer from striking the fire pin accidentally. The firing pin has its own safety, which makes sure that the pin will not move forward, that is, until the trigger is pulled. So if I was pulling the trigger, if I had the gun all together, I was pulling the trigger and I pushed the firing pin, you would see it protrude. But not the way I was doing it. Push forward to meet the cartridge's primer. This third safety is also the gun's drop safety. Even when dropped from a reasonable height with a round in the chamber, the gun will not fire. In other words, there won't be like enough inertia to the firing pin to be able to set it off, even if it's not hit by the hammer. Just inertia of the firing pin alone, because it has a block, supposedly. The slide is a notch which separates the firing pin from the cartridge. Unlike the aforementioned firing pin safety, this one is there to make sure that the gun does not accidentally discharge around while it's cycling. This is called the trigger bar disconnector. Now here, despite these safety measures, Sig Sauer P220 has been cited in accidental fatalities. I mean, documented stuff. One example is the case of Officer Jesse Pederez of the San Fernando Police Department in California. On 17th of July 2002, he was accidentally shot and killed when his Sig P220 45 caliber service weapon fell to the ground and discharged, striking him in the head. He had gone to the police station to pick up a patrol car. As he walked across the parking lot, his weapon still in its holster, as he was carrying his gun belt. His weapon, still in the holster, fell to the ground and discharged when the hammer struck the pavement. Yeah, P220R, which is with the rail. That's what these are. These have a rail. It's kind of cool that even the... Well, it doesn't really matter. I was going to say even the 22 caliber one has a rail, but it's just the receiver. If the receiver has a rail, there you go. You can have that on your... both of these do. They're identical receivers with the rail. And whatever, here's some of the different versions. Here's the... Well, do they talk about the... Yeah, the P220 Classic 22. Actually, no, that's actually a 22. That's a 22 model. Oh no, maybe it's not. I guess yes, the model's primary purpose. It's not. It's just this kit. I was gonna say maybe there's a whole separate gun also, but that would be kind of silly. There's not. Let's just eliminate that confusion immediately. The P220 Classic 22, they will sell it as a whole gun. But like I said, you could use the lower for anything. This model's primary purpose is as a practice or range pistol. The Classic 22 model replaces the typical stainless steel centerfire slide assembly with a lighter aluminum rimfire slide chambered in 22 long rifle. The Classic 22 also has a different barrel, guide rod, and recoil spring than the larger caliber models. It incorporates the same frame and operation as centerfire P220 models. It's not the same operation because there's no last round hold open, but the Classic 22 model is available as a standalone firearm or as a conversion kit to an existing centerfire P220. Likewise, conversion kits, the Sig Sauer Exchange Kit exists to convert a 22 long rifle P220 pistol into a 45. So if you would have bought this P220 Classic 22, and that's all you bought. And it came with the 22 equipment and the receiver. You could buy this exchange kit, which would be the 45 slide and barrel and recoil spring and guide rod. This conversion can be accomplished by field stripping the firearm and replacing the slide assembly and magazine, a process that can be accomplished in minutes, seconds. The classic 22 used a 10-round polymer mag. That's what these are, polymer. It's like so weird that they feel like, they feel almost like ceramic. It's crazy. Very high quality. In lieu of steel magazines used by the centerfire models and conversion kits. The P220 Classic 22 should not be confused with the Sig Sauer Mosquito 22 long rifle pistol. There you go. That's the one to not mix this up with. The Classic 22 is a full-size P220, while the Mosquito is modeled on the P226, but is 90% of the size. Which, that's not so easy to see, a 10% difference in size. It's easily to confuse them. Another difference is that the Classic 22 is manufactured by Sig Sauer, while the Mosquito is made under license by German Sport Guns GmbH. The size difference means that the Mosquito cannot be converted up, and full-size Sig Sauer pistols cannot use the Mosquito's slide assembly. And that's it for my info. And yeah, let's put a couple of snap caps through this thing and show you how it cycles. And then we call it a day. I love this conversion kit. I really spend a lot of time at the range. And, whoops. And I really enjoy messing around with this thing. So we got regular, see how it just loads like a regular, you know, some of these 22 mags load kind of weird or whatever, you know, but this one, you're putting the rim, you know, like right inside of a gap with the nose sticking up. I mean, it's very similar. It's has a very similar feel to just a stock, stock 45. And then there you see that feed ramp is on the barrel. You'd have to drop it. Tried to ride it home, but it doesn't really. They rarely work that way. You're not really going to find any gun that functions well when you do it at super slow speed. But there's how well that extractor and ejector work. It's awesome. High quality stuff here, and you know, if you're into 22s, this is a great gun to get, only because you don't have to get, you know, like in the United States, it's the receiver that's the gun. So you really only technically need to just have one gun, you know, like some states have weird licensing, you know, whatever. It's like, it's not so easy to add something you have to add guns to your license, or, you know, each individual one has to be licensed. Some states, it's not so easy, where you just get a gun permit, then you just go out and buy whatever you want. You know, like each one is kind of like a pain in the neck. For those types of, for people who have those types of rules, this could be great, because you really only need to buy one receiver. And you could just buy this kit. This alone right here isn't a gun. I mean, you could buy this right here, what's in my hand, you could buy on eBay. I mean, you know, you could get that kit retail over the counter, and then turns this gun into a 22 and a 40. You'd be able to have a 22 and a 45, you know. I got lucky with my purchase, because this guy used it as a, you know, he used it as his competitive shooting gun. So he wanted to have the 22 just, complete as a, a complete twin to practice with. Man, there's so many things that are hard to do on camera when you don't have full visibility and use of your hands. And yeah, there we go. So there they are, ladies and gentlemen. Sig P220 and 45 caliber, the 22 long rifle conversion kit. Y'all take care. We got some cool stuff coming up. Stay tuned. See y'all later.